This week's Torah portion, Toldot, we have a fascinating story right at the start of the Parsha. Now, Isaac was married to Rebekah, Yitzchak was married to Rivka, and they were married for 20 years and they had not had a child. And they prayed and they poured out their heart to God. And finally, after 20 years, they were blessed and Rivka became pregnant. And she had some pains inside of her, right? Eventually she was to have twins, but she didn't know it and she felt these pains. And she said to God, why is this happening to me? And she finally found out that there were two nations in her womb and they were fighting. And she was satisfied with that and she went on until she gave birth. Now the question is, she was feeling pain. She had birth. That's why she said, why did this happen to me? People have a difficult pregnancy. You haven't been pregnant for 20 years. God gives you a baby and it's a little bit difficult. And you say, why me? It doesn't seem to make any sense. Except that Rashi points out. Rashi says that when Rivka would walk by a yeshiva, a Talmudical academy, then she would feel like the baby was trying to get out. And that when she would walk by a house of idol worship, she would feel like the baby was trying to get out. What was her concern? She was concerned that there was one child in her belly. And that child would run to the yeshiva and also run to a house of idolatry. And that there would be this tension that they couldn't focus on one or the other, between good and evil, bad and good, and the same person getting pulled both ways. And she was terrified of that. And finally she was told, no, there are two children in your womb, and those are the pullings, the pangs, the pain that you're feeling. Because she understood that in life, people need to stay focused. You can't be a Jew if you're not focused. And it's not easy to focus. There's a great book called The Power of One. It's a business book. It talks about how we all come up with a list of 15 goals, 25 goals, 50 goals. He says you need to focus on one goal and accomplish it and then go on to the next. So many times in Judaism, we see there's 613 mitzvos, there's thousands of other commands. We're so overwhelmed. If I can't do everything, then I'm not going to do anything. So many Jews came over from Europe 100 years ago and they had to get jobs and they felt that they had to violate the Shabbos and to work on Saturday. And as a result, they said, if I'm going to work on Saturday, I may not keep anything else. And they gave up everything because they felt it was an all or nothing. But that's not what Judaism believes. Judaism believes that you have to do the best job that you can do, and you have to focus, and you have to build, and you have to try and grow. And if you have to take it one mitzvah at a time, that's totally fine. There's a story many years ago when I worked for NCSY with teenagers. It was a wonderful young woman from Pittsburgh who was really trying to get closer to God, trying to do more mitzvahs. And she said to me finally, she said, you know what? I can't keep Shabbos. And I'll tell you why. I have a job, my family situation. I work in a movie theater every single Friday night. So I can't keep Shabbos. So I said to her, why don't you light candles before you go to work? Why should you throw everything out just because you can't do everything? And she started to light candles every Friday night before going out to work. And eventually, that kept her so connected to the Almighty that she was able to stop working on Friday nights. And today, she is fully Shomer Shabbos. She keeps Shabbos because by keeping on to that focus of that one mitzvah, it brought everything else closer. We can't always be torn, running this way and that way. And that's what Rivka was so scared of. To have a child that was always torn, that couldn't focus on everything because they wanted everything. When it comes to spirituality, focus on one thing. Let's accomplish it. Let's go on to the second. And let's build and build and build and grow. And don't let anyone ever tell you that it's all or nothing. God wants you to do the best job that you can on the way to getting close to Him.